Hi guys, this is Edmund and I have something very exciting for you because this is the very beginning of my podcast that I'm launching here on my YouTube channel. Well, this was actually never an idea of mine to actually interview other people on the podcast, but I decided that if I want to create value for others, if I want to, create as much inspiration and provide the right information to my audience, then the things that I'm sharing on my YouTube channel is just a small part. And if I'll be engaging some other professionals from where most of them are much longer in the business that we're in, then this way we're going to create so much more value for everyone. And so this is the episode number 1, and I have a very interesting and special guest. Today we're speaking with Michael Sesta. Michael, welcome on the podcast.
Thank you.
As a matter of fact, this is a very, very, very nice to have you. And as a matter of fact, this is a 2-part podcast, meaning that one episode is the one that you're watching right now on my YouTube channel, and the other one is that you can find on Michael's YouTube channel that we just recorded. So those are 2 completely different conversations, but I think that if you are a videographer, if you would like to grow your business, to get more clients, and travel the world doing what you love, you will also be very interested. You will most likely be interested in checking out the other episodes as well. So without further ado, a very small introduction. Michael is a videopreneur, he's a coach, he's a traveler, he makes amazing content, but above all, he's teaching others how to grow their business. So this is about not only about the videography, but also about the mindset and the business concepts. So yeah, welcome on the episode.
Thank you very much. That was a really good introduction. Glad to be here.
Tell me, how did everything? Okay, because we were talking about videography. How did it start for you? Like how did you start doing this?
Yeah. So let's dive right into it. And the first thing, let's say, even before mentioning videography, is that it's kind of crazy for me even right now to be talking like this to the camera, because when I started, at the very beginning, even before I picked up my camera, like I was super introverted. I was like extremely shy. I couldn't communicate with people at all, so just not even in person, right? And if I would be standing in front of a camera like this, would be completely out of my reality. But yeah, like how I started with photography, that was kind of actually I thought about this recently. And that's, I think, my main motivation why I started with like design and creativity and photography, because it allowed me to do what I enjoy and what I'm good at without talking to people. As a kid, I was drawing, I was painting, I was designing, and even I studied in secondary school in UK, where I was, let's say, pretty lucky because I'm originally from Slovakia, where like you pretty much all the subjects, and in UK already I got to choose my subject. So I went with this creative direction, art, design, and all of these things. And then slowly I got my first camera and I started taking pictures, and that was kind of my own world. I was just with my camera in the nature or just taking pictures by myself. And I was like, okay, perfect. Like, I don't have to talk with anybody. If I post some pictures on Instagram, people love it. So it felt kind of good. But then, yeah, like obviously I hit this moment in my life where I realized that was after one day of shooting with some other friends. We were just shooting like a skateboarding video. And then I came back home, very energized, like, of course, tired, like after the whole day of shooting, but also like very, fulfilled and happy. And I had this thought. I remember this was now in Germany, where I studied, in my dorm room. And I had this thought like, okay, this was amazing. Like, what if I could actually do this full time, earning money with this? And that was this one moment where, like, yeah, I really decided to take this a bit more seriously. And yeah, I was also working for an agency. I was still going to the film school, and doing a lot of different stuff. And yeah, that was kind of the beginning of my journey as a photographer.
Could you tell me, like, okay, looking back at how you started and in the first years, so to speak, are there some things that you would do different if you had to start all over again?
100%, 100%. So that's actually super good question, because I literally thought about this yesterday as I was falling asleep, and I was about to shoot a video on this topic, like what I would do differently if I would start again. And the first thing that I would do is like start way sooner, because I think I was kind of like holding myself back of not committing to this fully. And then as time goes on, like it's pretty much just wasted years. And before that, even before I studied in Germany, I was in Scotland. That's pretty much where I got my first Sony Alpha 6000 with the 50mm lens. Like that's pretty much the one that you had as well, like the 50s, the gold standard, right? And yeah, since like on the personal level, I was like extremely introverted. Then also I didn't really take full advantage of my skill or of my passion, right? Because I didn't really like, nobody valued my photography services. Like, yeah, obviously people loved it on Instagram, but when it came to the payment or when it came to actual professional client work, like I had zero, right? Like that was horrible for me. So that's definitely one thing that I would do differently. Focus much even more on my passion and just disregard anything else. So just me working like a lot of shitty jobs just to pay my rent, I would probably, well, I didn't really have a choice, but maybe I would try to figure out something where I would actually make money with photography way sooner, because yeah, this would allow me to be much more happy and also save a lot of time. And then second of all, which might be surprising for a lot of people, maybe I wouldn't even go to film school, like for sure, like, looking back, I wouldn't never go to film school or any kind of university. But if I would already be there, I would drop out way sooner, because, first I studied IT and programming and computer networks, and then I only switched to the more creative side. And still, like there was definitely, it was like very exciting, and I met a lot of really cool people, made a good connections, and got to shoot in studios and stuff like this. But 80% of that was just like the technical side, physics and maths and security on set and all of these things. And just looking back, like how many hours I spent, in the presentations and in the classroom, just learning about all this bullshit that, right now I have no clue what I just learned. And it's absolutely no use to me. While in the meantime, I could have been just working on my craft, working on myself as a person, and actually having the real life experiences. So that's definitely like some of the things that I would do differently, and also just getting a mentor. Like back when I started, since I didn't have these connections, I didn't even know about the concept of like coaches or mentoring. And it was only almost after 2 years of me doing this pretty unsuccessfully, that I managed to get a mentor. He was a friend of mine. And also, like, as you mentioned in your interview, like he had nothing to do with photography or filmmaking. He was a business owner. He was a successful entrepreneur. And he pretty much just showed me like, the mindset level, like, what to do on the mindset part, how to behave, how to communicate with clients, how to present my offer, how to sell myself, how to increase my prices, all of these things. And that's pretty much like when my business skyrocketed, pretty much like overnight, let's say. So, if I would be 18 again, I would definitely just look for mentors and for people who are more advanced. And then, yeah, since I didn't have any money back then, what you mentioned also, like very interesting concept in your interview, that I would try to figure out some kind of way to give them value, or maybe just come up with the money somehow, as I did, like when getting my first mentor. Like I remember I had, let's say, my last 3,000 on my bank account. And my parents didn't really support me because, yeah, they also didn't have too much money. And I was still working for 2 part-time jobs. So, yeah, I would probably just cut even more on the partying and on just like bullshitting. Even though like I was already very structured. I was like, in the meantime, when others were just like partying and like doing nothing, I was already like working on myself. But I would probably do that even way more and just, really come up with the money, get that mentor, or like find a way on how to just get the mentor in any way. And then, yeah, that this would, like, I can imagine that right now I would be in a completely different place.
Well, really well explained. And I'm actually, and again, coming from because we had a episode just now that we recorded, and we talked a little bit about coaches and mentors, and I told you my side of the story. But I'm also curious about your own experiences, but also how, okay, let's say you are a videographer, but you have an idea, okay, I'm just gonna learn everything myself. I'm just gonna, or even
That's just stupid.
even that's just stupid. Or even worse, they have an idea that they already know everything and that they're already amazing at what they do. Can you explain a little bit more, the whole concept of coaching and mentoring in this context? Let's say how can a videographer use it, and how he can or she can benefit from it?
Yeah, so I'm glad that you actually brought up this concept, because I literally had the same, like I had the same thinking, and I still have this like kind of like, peeking through, my subconscious, like I'm pretty clever, I'm intelligent, I know everything myself, and what I don't know, I can just figure out myself, which is pretty much just like your ego talking, like I guess like I have the feeling that we are both like very intelligent, kind of like from the childhood, and we were always like passionate about certain things and working on our craft. And that's probably what made me even more like go this direction. Like, yeah, I don't need anybody. Like, let me just hustle. Let me just learn everything myself. And that's pretty much like how it ended up. Like, I was just struggling a lot. Since I didn't have good connections, let's say, in my social circle, I also was kind of depressed, or like I didn't have the support, right? So that's, let's say, one very good advantage of having a mentor or a coach, or even like getting into some kind of social circle, even online. I guess like even ideally online, where you have the support, where you have like-minded people, and you can share your success. You can like share your losses with them. So that's already like one major benefit, just being surrounded with like-minded, high-quality people around the world. It doesn't necessarily have to be in your city or in your country, right? Because you might not even have this option. Like maybe you are a student, as I was, and then yeah, if you just look around, 90% of all the other students are just like partying, smoking weed and eating pizza. So that's, yeah, like if you really want to achieve something, that's probably not the way you want to go. And apart from that, like a massive benefit of having a mentor is pretty much just the convenience. Like you save time, you save the effort, and then instead of me just having to watch through like hundreds of videos, which at the end only like of course, like I'm pretty sure you also watch some YouTube videos around filmmaking and photography, and of course like we have our own channels, and it definitely feels nice like to watch that. You feel like you're getting the value and learn new things, but then what's even more important is applying this into your own life and executing on the knowledge that you have. And that can be like very, very challenging, because unless you are extremely disciplined, which I think I am pretty disciplined, but still I completely fail when it comes to this, or like not completely, but it's like very challenging for me to actually like make the switch. Like I'm not gonna watch another video on how to close a deal. Like let me just go out there and try this on my own. Like that benefits you 10 times more, because now you learn like from the actual experience, how it feels now. So yeah, this is like also the massive benefit of having a mentor, because then like, or a coach, because then like it's their job pretty much to make you execute and help you go through these steps, and then learn as you go, and avoid a lot of mistakes along the path as well.
Nice.
And then okay, and maybe like what is sorry, like one more thing that came to my mind is like having a different perspective. Like that's also super key, because you in your own reality, in your own thinking and mindsets, you just view the world with your own like goggles, right? And then it's impossible for you to just come up with different ideas, because yeah, you just have viewed this world in this. Let's imagine you just have like pink sunglasses. Like there's no way that you can see the world like blue, right? It's only gonna be pink. And then that's why it's important, like you have someone else maybe that has like the blue sunglasses. And now like it's a super stupid example, but like I want to make it simple, and that they can offer you, they can provide you with this perspective, like okay, why don't you do something differently? Like let's say specifically with pricing, like you're getting clients, and then I was always very inconfident, I didn't trust myself, and I was always like underselling myself. And then the mentor told me like, okay, why instead of 50 euros don't you don't charge 500? And I was like, oh, what? Like no way, like this is like I'm not gonna do it. And then he told me like, yeah, you're gonna do it. And then I pretty much have no choice. And then the next time the client was asking like, what's the price? And I said like, yeah, 500. And I definitely feel scared and like all of these things because it just wasn't natural to me. But then once the client said yes, I was like, holy shit, like, how is this possible? Like from 50 euros to 500 euros just because I asked, like this one single perspective. And it's like a massive difference. And I would like by myself, I would never even have the idea to ask for that much money, right? So like that's also a massive benefit of this, just having the outside perspective on your life.
Well, that's super interesting, and things that you mentioned is also that something that I can relate to when I think back about pushing my price and raising my, for instance, price per project and the budget that I asked my clients. I see that, and I think that it has a lot to do with the mindset as well. And what I would like to ask you, what may be interesting is that a lot of videographers, also the professional ones, their work is amazing. They have amazing equipment. They have a lot of experience, but they are struggling when it comes to the financial side. Meaning that they're probably they probably even better than so many videographers who are who have a different style, or the quality is much smaller, but they make so much more money. So can you explain a little bit more about the difference, whether it's about the mindset or whether it's about what they do or how they do it?
Yeah, that's again an excellent question. I literally addressed this specific topic also like with some graphics in my recent masterclass that I prepared. Like it's a free training basically for photographers and filmmakers, like a 2-hour long training where I walk step by step through all of these concepts. But just to like keep it short here, that's definitely kind of one side. You have the skills and the technical creativity, let's say, like how good your videos are, and then the other side is like how well do you present yourself as a person as well as a professional, like how well you are able to sell yourself. And as you mentioned, I would say 80% of creatives and photographers, filmmakers, they already are pretty good on the creative side, because it's quite easy to learn this on YouTube, let's say, or like different courses, or just by trying. But then since on the business side, or like, on communication, like communicating with clients, it's mostly about your mindset and like different, perspectives on the business world. Like that's much more challenging. And since like we are not naturally good at this, like we don't even have the tendency to just step into this and learn all of these things. And of course, like that's also super important. So yeah, definitely like, someone, when someone asks me like, yeah, can I see your work, or like, how good your videos are? Like I tell them like, hey, definitely you can watch the previous work, but I can tell you right now that you have better work than me. But I'm still more successful. I can still charge 3 times as more as you because I just know these principles. I went through this myself. I have the mindset, and that's kind of like tying this to the abundance mindset, and that's pretty why I wear this shirt as well. By the way, if you want one, I'm selling those, so definitely just DM me and we can make that happen. But yeah, like that's also super important, like the concept of abundance, where literally whatever you do, it has to come from this place that you have a choice, that that you are good. And even if that one specific client, or let's say tying this to shooting with girls, like if that one girl says no, or doesn't respond, or rejects you, like there are still million of other girls that, that you can approach and you can shoot. And same with the clients, so that automatically makes you more successful, because now the client feels this, right? From your side, and this makes you much more likely to actually land the deal and be respected by the other party, and also raise your prices, and all of these things, right? Because a lot of times, like my students, or just like people on Instagram, when I do a Q&A or something like this, they ask me, okay, so what should I say to the client, like specific words or phrases? And this is also an important concept, that it's not really about what you say, but it's like how you say it, and like where it comes from, like the energy level, especially, like even if you're on the phone, or especially in person, like it's much more about your energy, your mindset, and how you think, like if you approach, let's say, a local business, like a restaurant or a gym or a hotel, and then even before you walk in, you think, yeah, like they probably don't need video. I'm probably not good enough. It's probably not gonna happen. They're probably gonna reject me. How on earth is that gonna benefit you? Like, and there's no way that they're gonna actually accept the deal if you yourself think that it's not gonna happen. So like, those are all the things that photographers and filmmakers don't even think about or don't pay importance to. But those are the things that actually make the massive difference, and that's pretty much what breaks or makes your career and your life.
That's really good. And so we talked a bit about the mindset. We talked a bit about the business side. But from what I've seen on the social media and from what you told me, you've been also traveling and you had this kind of lifestyle. Was it always your goal from the start, or was it something that you developed? This idea of traveling when you were doing what you do? Was it like from the beginning, or was it that something that it evolved later?
Yeah. So that's again a good question. Just before that, I just came to my mind like another super important principle when it comes to the business side that will help a lot of people watching this right now, and that's the concept of ABC. Like if you're on the business side, it's basically means like always be closing or always be selling, selling yourself. And that's again a massive concept on the mindset side, because it doesn't require you to have any additional skills. It's just in your head, like you make the switch. So I'll give you an example specifically. If you, let's say, go to a club, with friends, and then you're sitting there getting drunk, or like maybe you just go on a cafe and then you have your dessert and drink a coffee, like what prevents you from actually asking them like, hey, this is a pretty cool club. Do you maybe need a video? Or maybe just like right as you're sitting there, you go to their Instagram and you see it's shit. Like they don't have a video, they don't have good photos. So you just ask the bartender like, hey, can I speak with the manager for a second? And then you pretty much sell yourself without selling yourself. Because you just literally ask them like, hey, do you maybe need the video? Like it just happens to be that I'm a videographer, and then like you can apply this concept with anything, like whether it's with traveling, whether it's in business or in university, or like anything. You just have to always have this on your mind, like always be selling yourself, always be promoting yourself. And it also comes down to like how your Instagram feed looks like. Like when someone comes to your Instagram feed, like do they feel like they want to buy from you, or do they feel like, okay, what the hell is this? Just like random photos of food and whatever that is. So just don't be afraid to like promote yourself. Don't be afraid to actually close the deals, and that will also help you massively.
It's funny that you mention it, because it reminded me straight away of one of my own experiences with this principle. And it also has to do something with resourcefulness, that you know how to use everything that you have around you. It won't fall on your lap, but usually when it comes to opportunities, whether it's new clients or new people that you want to work with, you attract them to a certain point from where you have to take initiative and, in this case, close the deal or reach out or propose a collaboration. And actually, in my case, I was a few years ago, I was on a course of public speaking. I didn't have really like aspirations when it comes to public speaking, but I decided that this is, it has a lot to do with personal branding. This is interesting for me. It was a 3-day course, and so throughout this course, there was a lot of there were a lot of lectures about video marketing, like why you should have your video content, why you should have your information products, all of those stuff. So after on the third day, actually on the second day, everybody was already like, oh my God, I need video. I need to build my YouTube channel. I need to record my, and I literally heard them saying that in the conversations. And I was like, okay, how can I need to act now. And so what I decided after the second day, the third day was the last one. So on the second day, I came home like super late, like 10 o'clock or something like this. I would have to wake up at 6 and go to Amsterdam where the seminar was. But what I did in those 2 or 3 hours, I created a small website. I actually bought a domain, all about that very night, all about film your training, film your YouTube content. Are you a speaker? This a small copy, some pictures of Tony Robbins and other famous speakers, and I didn't even have time to, of course, to print the business cards. But I created I literally took. I printed the website and a small call to action on big A4 pages, and I took 50 of them with me. Of course, I asked the guy who organized the seminar, hey, is it cool if I hand some of those out to people who may be interested? I didn't want any conflict of interest, and he said, it's cool, as long as you're not standing on stage and selling from it. I'm perfectly fine when it comes to networking. And so that was my pitch straight away. Hey, if you are looking for someone to make videos like this, I can help you with it. Here's my website, and I just took out this big sheet of paper. And long story short, why I'm telling this, eventually the projects that I got from that initiative, I actually made more money than what I paid for the seminar, because it was a high-end, a couple of €1,000 seminar. But I earned it back in one day just by handing out, just by networking, and that's also the ABC principle, that you see the supply and demand. You notice the demand.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, and you just present the solution. So it's very interesting that you're mentioning it, and it's also a note to me that I should be doing it more. When I think about traveling, sitting in an airplane, or just networking somewhere, or talking to a business owner. Yeah, that's a very good one. So thank you for sharing that. And so we talked about the business side. You've been traveling as well, and you also have been working with models, and that's actually something that a lot of my viewers are interested in. And can you tell me, without going too much into specifics and the details, how you started working with models, and perhaps the countries where you've been, because I know that you've been traveling. I've seen shoots in different countries. So maybe you can tell me a bit of how it started and how you were doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. So pretty much it started when I was in Germany, when I kind of my career as a filmmaker, went up. And of course, I was mostly focusing on the commercial work and a little bit of weddings, just to get the money and to fund myself. But then of course, since I went into filmmaking from the passionate creative side, I always, wanted to capture beauty. And just back then I was 20 or 21. So of course, one of my top priorities was just girls. So I had this initial idea that I would love to shoot with models, or just, shoot with girls. And that was actually pretty funny how I started, because it was very, very challenging. First of all, because I didn't have the right equipment to actually shoot inside, or in a studio setup. I had my equipment, but it was not, specifically for photography inside. And the second problem, or the second point, was that, actually there's three struggles that I had. This was the first one on the technical side, and the second one was that I still was very inconfident and shy. So yeah, especially with girls, if you can't talk to them properly, then no matter how good your photos are, you're just gonna be successful. And then the third point was that I was in Germany, and they are quite conservative, right? So always when I just reached out to someone hey, do you want a photo shoot? And they were like, yeah, no. So that was kind of I struggled through this a lot. I think I messaged maybe 20, 30, 40 girls, and I was kind of okay, let this go, it's not gonna happen. And then I think shot with one or two girls, And then I realized, oh, yeah, this is really something that is a beautiful thing to do. And then once I started traveling, so maybe since you also asked about the traveling part, so back then I had my business in Germany. I got kicked out of the film school, and I was just like, my intention was just to stay there, set up the business, and just like work on the business. And then since I was still very young, I still had this like thought, I want to see different countries, maybe get to know other people, just living the freedom lifestyle, let's say. Then I also got the opportunity to work with one influencer, Max Torno. Back then, he was doing dating coaching, so he was also like my big inspiration. And since I was already pretty successful, I applied, and then I got chosen. Like that was also a very interesting point, because I thought, like, since he has like hundreds of thousands of followers, like when he's looking for a filmmaker, then there must be like hundreds of people applying and like dying to work with him. So I applied, and then I already was like, since I already had like my mentor, I was kind of good on the mindset side. I knew as soon as I applied that I'm gonna get chosen, and because I literally did everything to like make that happen. I put together like a perfect show reel for him. I shot a selfie video that I attached to the email. I crafted the email. I discussed the email with a friend of mine who was a copywriter, and like he helped me craft the email. It's like really put a lot of effort into that. And I remember that was like one night where it was like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. I was just about to go to sleep. And then like I saw this on his stories that he's looking for a filmmaker. And I was like immediately, like 1 second, like bam, like holy shit, like I need to apply right now. So like throughout the whole night, I was like putting together the application. But yeah, long story short, I got chosen, and then like through him, basically, I was traveling the world. I got to know a lot of cool entrepreneurs and like millionaires, like really good connections. Even on the personal side, I have a lot of really good friends, kind of stemming from this collaboration. And that's also like why I got even more into just shooting with models. And then since I lived in Kiev in Ukraine, and I still live there, kind of like from time to time, like I've noticed that first of all, I really do like the type of girls, like the Eastern European girls, as well as they are much more open for the idea of having photo shoots. So that's where I got into it much more, like, well, not professionally, but like more and more. And like since like once you're able to get some kind of portfolio, and also go through the experience of like what it actually takes to approach these girls, write with them, and actually do the photo shoots, like that was like when kind of the possibilities opened up.
Nice. I really like how you mentioned capturing beauty, because this is also like really my number one motivation when it comes to model videography. And of course, as in any business, you have both the the purely professional side, and then you have your personal intentions. And I think in this world, it can get sometimes a little bit tricky. I know I have it sometimes when I'm working with a model and she's acting in the camera, but she's acting very seductive and very attractive. And for a moment, I can actually forget that she's doing that for the video and not to me personally. And this can get a little bit tricky, because you can get confused if whether hey, am I getting some good vibes here, or what's happening, But I think what I wanted to ask you as well. I like, by the way, that you mentioned that you felt shy when it comes to women. And did you feel, because of this experience of the work that you've been doing, do you feel that it changed you in that perspective when it comes to that? Like you got more comfortable working with women and talking with women?
100%. And even before that, like everything that I was doing pretty much like since I started was kind of complementing in different areas of my life, so just like me being super shy and introverted, like once I was able to overcome that, let's say, like kind of forcing myself to talk with other people, was helping me in business, because now I could use these skills to, like, talk with people on the phone, or like approaching potential clients, closing the deals confidently. And this in turn, like, also helped me get more confident and just like building up this abundance. And then also, like, with girls specifically, like, you just have to be very lighthearted. Like, of course, on one side you do have to be professional. Like, if your photos are complete shit, then yeah, they just don't want to shoot with you, no matter how like cool you are on the personal side. But also, like, if your work is perfect, but on the other side, like, you're super boring and you can't talk, then that's also not a good combination. So like, it kind of goes hand in hand that you do have to be like very confident and like let's say a good person, very social, and then also like combine this with your passion, with your creativity. And that's again, like the whole vibe, let's say. Like, also the girls, they're not looking for like the technically perfect photo. Like, as long as you just put your passion into that, and you create this good vibe, like they have fun during the photo shoot, you have fun, and then like you're able to mold this into like a very beautiful experience, and then also the result will be like very, very, very good.
Let's talk a little bit more about the model videography, and then we're gonna wrap up. And then I would love to to tell the audience a little bit more specifically about what you do and how you could potentially help them. And so, let's say that you're a professional videographer, but you haven't worked with models or with women just yet, at least not focused on it. Could you give a little bit of advice on, perhaps how to find the models or how to approach them, and perhaps what you would do if you would have to start all over again? So some kind of beginner's tips that can help them, to build a portfolio and to get more comfortable, for instance, working with women.
There's a lot of these, I would say almost all of the concepts that also apply when it comes to just reaching out to models, and just like building up this like very genuine connection with girls, because it also forces you to, let's say, be persistent, be like follow up, not give up, and just be very open-minded, be very resourceful, and then also know like how to close the deal, let's say, right? So that also helped me a lot, just once I was able to overcome my own fears or like blockages. And I pretty much just told myself like, hey, I'm just gonna message this girl on Facebook or Instagram, and I don't care what happens. It's just like, I already have my epic life, and if she wants to make her life even more epic as well as mine, then let's do it. If not, nothing, like no big deal, right? Like, I'm just gonna move on and message another one. And since I come from this like very, lighthearted frame, and I was also like pretty direct, like I was very honest, and I also acknowledged that's also like a very, very strong concept that you can use for pretty much anything in life, but now specifically talking with clients and or girls, like you kind of imagine from their perspective like what it feels like or what's the experience, like imagine how would you feel as a hot girl, as a model with thousands of followers on Instagram, if some random dude would just message you and then you see the DM like, I don't know, hey, do you want to do a photo shoot? Like it's, you kind of imagine like how they would react, and then this also allows you to kind of frame your messages in like a very natural, very honest way, and that's pretty much like how it always begins. Like I go with the mindset, like, yeah, just let's make something epic happen. If not, that's totally cool. But if yes, like, here's my portfolio. You can just look at my feed, and then also like it really helps that. Most girls, they just want good photos. They want this attention, they want the likes. So if you just like frame it correctly, if you just approach the situation correctly, then it's very hard to actually not get the models, right? Because yeah, that's like a win-win situation. Because I also like now I don't do this too much anymore, but I had my time where I was like literally posting a lot of these nude models on my Instagram, like behind the scenes, and of course like all the guys got kind of motivated by this, and they were like approaching me like, okay, how do you do this? I even did like coaching calls specifically, like telling guys like how do you approach models, how do you shoot, and like what to talk about, and all of these things. And you just, exactly as you said, you have to separate, just like getting after the girl or just like getting to get that photo shoot, because yeah, those are like two completely separate things. Of course, like if you are like a genuine person, if you have your own qualities, your value, and then like it happens that you have a very good vibe, and the girl also likes you, you like the girl, then it can evolve in different things. But the core message, or like your core intention, should just be, you know, the artistic or creative purpose of doing that photo shoot or video shoot.
I totally agree with you on this, and it's funny that you mentioned the nude shoots, because I think that, you know, every time that when I'm talking with people, and or I show them examples of my work, and then we have the like artistic nudity, for a lot of people it's something that they've seen somewhere online, or they know it exists, but they've never met someone who actually creates this kind of work. So I get loads of interesting questions, you know, there's a lot of curiosity, but I still think that even though we live in 21st century and there is so much, you know, nudity online everywhere, but people still have a lot of people still have this old-fashioned conservative mindset when it comes to nudity as something, you know, being wrong, or, you know, judging people, judging the women who undress, you know, even though it's not even glamour, you know, it's especially not erotic, but just art, something that you can actually post online. So I was interested when it comes to your experience with shooting nudes, whether it's, you know, how you find those kind of models, or how you suggest or propose them that, hey, we can make it, you know, a dressed shoot, but if you feel like it, we can also do like nudity. How was your experience with that?
Yeah. Again, like extremely good questions. And I would never even think about this, but now that you mentioned, like, it's a very good topic that a lot of people are interested in. So yeah, first of all, like, it has to come from your mindset that you are completely open-minded, you appreciate the girl, you respect them, and then also, like, once. I'm also gonna mention, like, how do you actually get these girls to shoot nude with you, but like already once you're in the photo shoot, you just have to be completely relaxed and natural and just appreciate the girl, and you like not make her feel like you know, there's something wrong about this. So that's also like a very important aspect. And like a lot of times the girls were kind of freaked out, like when I told them, you know, like let's shoot some nudes, they were kind of freaked out. But since I was like very strong in my frame, I was like, yeah, of course, like it's normal, like why not? They were like, again, like they fell into my frame, like, yeah, of course, why not? Because it also secretly they want this type of shoots, you know. So it's just finding the balance and just like really communicating on this like personal level. And that's like the step before that, like how do you actually find these girls? So you obviously do have to approach the girls that are like likely to go this direction, you know, because if you like, that's a very good example. Like if you look at their feed and the girl only has like photos in her like t-shirt in the middle of a field, or I don't know, in the city, or like a headshot, then you probably like, she'll probably not be open to like a nude photo shoot, right? But if on the other side you see like on her profile she has like some crazy stories where she's like dancing in a short dress in a club and like drinking, and like maybe has already some nudes on her profile, then you can be almost sure like, okay, this is something that she is interested in, that she likes and appreciates. And then, you know, when you reach out to her, then yeah, it's also like in her interest to actually make that happen.
This was amazing value. First of all, I would like to thank you for joining us, but also a quick invitation to tell the viewers, you can do it in your own camera, about a little bit more specific about what you do and how you could help them and where they should follow you.
Yeah, exactly. So as you might have understood based on this conversation and like this whole interview, I do coaching for photographers and filmmakers full time, professionally. So I have the Videopreneur mentoring, where pretty much I show you, doesn't matter like where you're starting, where you are on your journey as a filmmaker or photographer. It can be just that you're just literally just starting and this is your passion. You maybe got your first camera, you still have, either you're studying or you have your 9 to 5 job, and you just need, you're not clear like what exactly you want to be doing. Like you don't really are, like you're not really on your purpose yet. So maybe you're just literally starting out, you have your first camera and you're either studying or have your 9 to 5 job, and you just need help finding your path, or like your, you know, which direction to go to, and then of course monetize that, like being able to sell your services, so then you can transition into full-time, like even a part-time income first of all, and then a full-time income. Or you're already a professional and then you just are looking to scale up, to increase your prices, to get more confident, both on the mindset level as on the like business practical level, as well as on the creative side, of course, because there are certain things that go into like what actually makes the videos impactful and appreciated by your clients. Or you might already be like very advanced and you have your business, and then you're really just looking to scale up, maybe past 10,000 per month, 15,000 per month, and then we can look into like actually how to make that happen. So pretty much in any stage of your journey as a photographer, filmmaker, this is really, that's something that you can look into. So the first step, I guess the most natural, is to just visit my YouTube channel, where already I have plenty of videos specifically for you as a photographer and filmmaker, like helping you on your journey, like on the business side mostly. You can also visit me on my Instagram, where you kind of like see the behind the scenes of what I'm doing, what my life looks like. And then also just recently I prepared a full training. It's like a 2-hour long masterclass for basically showing you step by step, like the blueprint on how you can get to 10,000 per month as a photographer or filmmaker, while not losing focus from the creativity and what you're really passionate about, and just really creating this amazing fulfilled lifestyle. And now if you go through all of this, or like if you already now kind of like what I have to say, and then you would like to get in touch with me personally, like get your questions answered, then this is also possible. Just like go and visit my page, videopreneurmentoring.com, and there you can either watch the free masterclass or just book a call with me, and then we just get to talk. Perhaps you would like to join the mentoring, that would be also excellent. And then we can make that happen. So that's pretty much the conclusion from my side.
Fantastic. Again, thank you so much. I'm going to wrap it up with a small outro into in my camera. But thanks so much for your time. Thanks so much for the things that you shared. For me, at least, it was really inspirational, and you gave me a lot of new things that I didn't think about before this episode. So thanks so much. And I'm pretty sure that for my audience, this has been also very inspiring. And so thanks again. And we're gonna, perhaps in the near future, we should create something together, whether it's another podcast, content, or an information.
Like a model shoot. Yeah. That would be
or
quite
a model
interesting,
shoot.
I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think a collaboration somewhere in the Europe. Of course, for everyone who's watching right now, we are in the whole COVID-19 situation right now, so we cannot really travel. We have to do this podcast like this, but it doesn't stop us, and it won't last forever. So for sure, we will collaborate in some interesting information. So thanks again.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
So thank you everyone for watching this episode. Make sure to like it. As a matter of fact, everything that Michael shared just now, all the links to his website and to his YouTube channel, you will find underneath. And as a matter of fact, if you have any specific questions to Michael, post them in the comments below, and so he can answer them here on YouTube. And so this was the very first episode of my podcast. Still very exciting, still a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I hope that you enjoyed it. So like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next episode. So thanks again for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.